Assalamu alaikum, student, and today we will go to learn about the overview of the research process. And in the research process, we will go to learn what are the different steps of the research process, how the research processes will go through from the different steps in the systematic way. These are the some terms of the in the two-day lecture sessions. Lecture session we will come across from these different type of the terminology, just like the study, investigation, or the research project. These are the three terms: the study, investigation, and research projects. They are the interchangeably used with each other. The study is the activity or the academic activity in which you will go to learn the something. The investigation is the discipline or the scientific way of the inquiry, and the research project is the systematic way of the to solve the any problem, to answer the any questions or any question in the systematic way and the scientific in the scientific way. That's called the research projects. And the subject and the other terms are called the subjects, study, participant, or the informants. These are the three terms which are interchangeably used in the research project. The subjects are the those information, are the those characteristic by which we collect the information. The subjects mostly maybe the human being, maybe the animals, maybe the plant, or the etc. And the study participant are the volunteer. Sample size are the populations which is you are included in your study project, by which you get the information or collect the information. And the study participants are mostly the volunteer of the by the human beings. And the informants are those study participant or the subject which are involved in your study, by which you will get the information through the by the using a specific tool or the questionnaires. And the other terms, the researcher, investigator, or the sciences, or the scientist. These are the three terms which is used interchangeably, but the performance, the work of the three type of these pupils are these expert are the same. The researcher are the that particular expert person, which is to solve any problem or to answer any question by the systematic way, to conduct a research project to answer it. This is called the researcher. And researcher may be can be of their researcher is called the principal investigator as well in the research project. And investigator are those person, expert person, which is conduct the inquiry and the come up with the meaningful result that is mostly happening in the field of the criminals, in the field of the law, or by the cops, or by the policemen, which is they are investigating. And the scientists are the scientist is the specific field expert, which is conduct discovery, a theory, discovery, or devices, or discover and create some new inventions. So these are the terms which we will be come across in our today lecture session. Theory is a term. Is a theory is a systematic abstract explanation some aspects of the reality. But the theory, actually, the theory is scientific theory is a scientist of the well tested and the well defined of the explanation of the hypothesis, and to the some aspects of the world which is around of us. If the hypothesis, if you are well tested hypothesis, repeatedly conduct the experiment on it, repeatedly come across from the same, your hypothesis come across from the same experiment again and again, it's become a convert into the scientific law or in the scientific principles. While the another concept is then another term that is used in the scientific study is the model. And the model is the mental image of the any abstracts of any phenomena. So these are the two theories which has been written over here, the rise of adaptation theory and Oram self-care theory. These are the two theories which are more familiar, famous in the nursing theories. Now the other terms which is we will use in the scientific study. These are the variables, and the variables are those characteristic which is measurable characteristic which is varies from person to person, from subject to subject, from information to informant to informants. So these are the different types of the variable. The one is called the continuous variable. The continuous variable are those variable in which the no gap is present between the two data set, like just like the body weight of the baby, just means 2 kg, 2.5 kg, 2.7 kg, and 3 kg. And just like the temperature, 95 Fahrenheit, 96 Fahrenheit, 96.5 Fahrenheit, and 97 Fahrenheit. So the continuation is present between the two data set. And then the discrete variable is the types of the another variables in which the complete gap is present between the two data variable, just like the number of the family member in any house, or the number of the children in your family, 2 or 3. No any in family that the 2.3 or 2.5 number of the children are present in the any house. So the number of the family member, number of the students, they are the discrete in number. And the other variable which is called the categorical variable. The categorical variable are those variables which are divided or segmentized in the categories. The just like the dichotomous variable of categorical variable, dichotomous variable are those variable in which the answer or the data are categorized in the two forms. Okay, just like the sex, male or female. If you ask any question in a direct question, uh, are you admitted in the morning in the ward? Are you come in this hospital? Are you admitted in the hospital in the morning time? So definitely the patient will give the answer in the yes or no. So the dichotomous, the categorical variable is always been a dichomatic form. And then the other variables is called the dependent variables and the independent variable. The dependent variable are those variables which are the outcome variable, which is the end result or the effects variable. And the independent variables are the causative or the risk factor or the determinants. Just like the sedentary lifestyle, lack of the exercise, and taking the taking the high density food. So it is increase the BMI, or it is increase the lipid profile. So the increase of the BMI and the lipid profile are the dependent variables, and the sedentary lifestyle, lack of exercise, and the high density food intake is the independent variable. These are the risk factors which can increase the BMI and lipid profile in any person. So if you want to conduct the research study in the quantitative methodology, so it is have the different steps which will go through by the systematic way. The first phase of the quantitative study design is the conceptual phase. What's in the conceptual phase? In the conceptual phase, first of all, you will be find out your problem, the area of your interest, in which area you want to conduct the study. And while after finding the area of the interest, definitely you will give the title to that particular area of your interest, such like the nurses and the infectious control, the case study of the nurses towards the infectious control guideline in the nursing staff of the PIMS. Means the case study, if you want to conduct the case study of the nursing staff in the PIMS, while using they are following the infectious control guideline or not. So this is the area of your interest, and in the area after choosing or finding out the area of interest, and then you will give the title to them. After giving the title and area of interest, then you will go to formulate the problem. Means these area of interest of the infectious control the CAP study. If you want to conduct the CAP study in the nursing staff towards the infectious control guideline, then definitely it is a formulating your problems. How this problem is important, how this is important, what are the magnitude of this problem, why you are conducting this problem. So after the formulating of the problem, then definitely you will go to summarize your problem. Means come with the magnitude, with the strength and weaknesses, with the importance of the problem. You will come up with the summarization of the problem and the purpose of the study. What is the purpose of this study? Why you are conducting this study? Means the purpose of this study means the objective of your study. That means while you are looking CAP study, means what in the CAP study of the and the among of the nurses of the female nursing staff, what you will go to be assess. It means you are going to assess the knowledge, attitudes, and practices among the nursing staff towards the infectious control guideline in the PIMS hospital. So this is the objective of your study. And after the purpose of the study, that we will go to for the literature reviews. Literature review is again is a part of the conceptual phase. And the literature review yesterday in the previous lecture of the literature review, we discussed it more in details. So it haven't been need to be discussed over here. After in the literature review, definitely you will go for the theoretical framework of the study design. What are the theory you will use, and what is the definition of the theoretical framework of your research problem that you will be defined over here in the conceptual phase. After the theoretical framework, definitely you will go to you have the certain prediction or a hypothesis in your mind or the assumption in your mind, and on the basis of the research question, you will be do the hypothesis. You will prove your hypothesis or you will prove your assumption and prediction. So this is an example of the phase one of the conceptual phase. Just over here, this area of the interest by I presented one example over here, that the CAP study among the nursing staff towards the infectious control guideline in the PIMS Hospital Islamabad. Means you that the researcher wants to conduct the research to know about the knowledge, attitudes, and the practices of the among the nursing staff towards the infectious control guideline in the PIMS hospital. So this is the title of the research problem. In the title, it should be concise, and the title, it should be the population, the research problem, and the variables, and the data and the study setting should be explored or expressed in your title. This title, that title will be very suitable in the scientific study. After giving the title of your problem, then you will go to summarization of your problem. Here we summarize the problem, to why this problem is so important for you to conduct the study on it. Okay, on this area. So by the explanation of that problem, that I summarized this problem for you all to make you understand how you will go to summarize the problem. The various studies worldwide have examined the level of the compliance of healthcare workers with the infectious control guideline. However, there were no studies in the Islamabad that assessed the infectious control practices among the nursing staff in the PIMS hospital. Okay, moreover, the information about the compliance of the PIMS nursing staff with the infection control guide is also very limited. So in the problem, you have been that the worldwide, the many studies have been done, which is the healthcare workers are more exposed or examined or observed that they have the compliance of the infectious control guideline. And the other problem, why you are giving the importance of that particular problem, because no any study has been conducted to assess the cap of the knowledge, attitudes of the and practices of the nursing staff in the PIMS hospital. So the compliance of the infectious control among the nursing staff in the PIMS hospital or in the Islamabad is also very limited. So that's why you are this problem has been the area has become the area of the interest for you all. So after the summarization of the problem, definitely you will go to for the purpose of the study. The aim of the study and the objective of the study is totally different. The aim of the study should be a broader, and it should be give the positive impact of your study. It means you and the objective, it should be specific. It should be a measurable. Now the purpose of this study is, in this study, the researcher wants to evaluate the infectious control practices among the nursing staff in the PIMS hospital at the national levels. So, and the purpose of this study, the researcher wants to evaluate the infectious control among the nursing staff. And then the aim of this study is the broader aspects. It is give the broader aspect of this study. Means it is evaluate the knowledge, attitudes, and the practice regarding infectious control among the PIMS nursing staff. So this is the aim of the study, and the first one is the objective or the purpose of that study. So after the purpose of the study, then will come up on the definition of the framework of the study. Every study project or research project have the as a theoretical framework. So what is the theory of the infectious control is said. So the latest routine approach and the practices which is applied on the non-intact skin, mucous membrane, blood, all body fluids, secretion, and excretion except the sweat, and regardless of whether or not they contain visible blood, to provide the high level of protection to the patient and healthcare workers and visitors from the infection. It means that those are the approaches, or the routine approaches, or surgical approaches, or the practices which is you are applied for those patients, which is their skin or their the non-intact towards the skin, or from the mucous membrane, the blood, or any surgical procedure or the nursing procedure which is you are doing, which is in which the healthcare worker is exposed to the blood or the body fluids of any patient, from any patient, or the except the secretion of the sweat or the other which is are not contain the blood. So the from these the body fluids or blood which is contain the pathogen is maybe it should be the infectious control. It should be patient should be protect from it, and also the healthcare also it should be protect from these pathogenic which is present in the body fluid or the blood of the patient. So these are the theoretical definition of the infectious control. Now the another definition is called the operational definition. The operational definition is that definition which has been given, or which has been explained or expressed by the some international agencies, just like the WHO or the CDC or the UNO or the any international agencies which is are the regulatory authority which is give the some specific definition for the some specific terminology. Just like the SOPs, they prepare the SOPs, the standard infectious control practices published by the CDC or the equivalent guideline by the any other international agency, just like the WHO. Just like the nowadays the coronavirus COVID-19 is it's become a pandemic in the all over the world. Now the WHO and the CDC, whatever they have prepared the SOPs for the public, for the healthcare workers, for their protection, or for the protection, or for the to prevent the spreadness of the COVID-19. These SOPs has been given by the WHO, and by the WHO it has been assigned to every country which is under the umbrella of the UNO. So this is the operational definitions. Okay. Now, in the theme of the literature review, we learned it very much in detail in the previous lecture of the literature review. In the literature review, we will go to prepare, enumerate, or describe, or summarize your research problem with the facts and figures, what the other researcher has been done on the infectious control, and what are the gap is present, and which gap you are going to be work through your research project to fill up that particular gap through your research subjects. So after literature review, definitely you will go from the research question, and some question has been arise in your mind. So and that research question, and you will go to answer that particular question with a scientific way. In the research question, and a hypothesis is a little bit different. The hypothesis is an assumption or prediction, and in the hypothesis, always the you will go to assess or to look out the relationship between the variables, independent variable and the dependent variables. By you are giving the assumption or prediction, the relationship between the independent variable and dependent variables. So, but in the research question, you are giving the you are asking a question that this dependent variable or independent variable, are they related with each other or not? Okay, so like this, in the first research question, what are the PIMS nursing staff infectious control practices? So in the first question, he wants to find out those are the factor or the causative factor, which is what are those factors which is of the infection control guideline, which is affecting on the compliance of the nursing staff. And the second question, is there a relationship between the PIMS nursing staff attitude towards the infectious control and their real practice? In that relationship, he wants to see the relationship between the PIMS nursing staff towards the infectious control and in their real practice. In the real practice and their attitudes of the infectious control, they have some relationship or not. Okay. And the other questions, is there a relationship between the PIMS nursing staff attitude toward the infectious control and their level of infectious control knowledge? And the first question, he wants to see the relationship between the attitudes towards the infectious control and their real practice. And the second one, he wants to see the relationship between the attitudes towards the infectious control and their knowledge in controlling of the infections. And the fourth question, he wants to see the relationship, is there a relationship between the PIMS nursing staff infection control knowledge and their attitudes towards the control? And it means, and the infectious control is a dependent variable, and the knowledge and attitudes is the independent variable, which the researcher wants to see the relationship between the two independent variable on the dependent variable and the controlling of the infectious control. So the second phase of the quantitative research study design, we will go to for the designing and the planning phase. In the designing and planning phase, we will first of all we will go to select the research study design. And what is the research study design? We have the proper 2 to 3 chapter on the research study design. We will go to discuss in detail about the different study design, research study design. But here I will be briefly explain about it. The research study design is the blueprint of the study design. As I give the roadmap to the researcher, okay, how you will go to conduct the study. And the research study design is divided into 2 categories: the non-experimental study design, which is called the observational study design. The other category is called the experimental study design. And the observational study design is further divided into 2 categories. The one is called the descriptive study design, and the second one is called the analytical study design. And the descriptive study design is further divided into the 4 to 5 types. The one is called the ecological study design, case study, case series, ecological study design, surveys, and the cross-sectional study design, and the pilot study as well. And the analytical study design is divided into 3 types of the analytical study design, in which you analyze the data and improve your hypothesis and research question. So in the analytical study design is the case control study design and the cohort study design. And cohort study design further divided into the three types, which is called the prospective cohort study design, retrospective cohort study design, and nested case control cohort study design. And the third one is the cross-sectional study design. Cross-sectional study design is the only one study design which is you can conduct the research study and the cross sections are descriptive way and also in the analytical way as well. And the second type of the second types of the research study design is the experimental study design. And the experimental study design are those type of study design in which you conduct the study, in which you use some a procedure or intervention or activities or the drug trial or the community trial as well. So in the experimental design, you conduct the study design on through some intervention or through some surgical procedure or the nursing procedure or any intervention or any drug trial, herbal trial. You can do it in the experimental study design. Experimental study design is further divided into three types. One is called the randomized controlled trial study design. The second one is called the quasi-experimental design. And the other name of the quasi-experimental study design is the cause and effect study design. And third one is the experimental design is called the community trial and the community experimental study design. So after the designing, we will come up on the defining the population. So what is the actual population of for your research project? There's the population is the whole population is there is the nursing staff. Nursing staff in the whole Islamabad is your population. But for your research study, you should go through the target population. What is the target population? From where you will get the rich information about your research project. So from the nursing staff, from the charge nurse to the head nurse to from the nursing supervisor and the nursing superintendent and the chief nursing superintendent, these all the nursing staff, these all the population. But the actual target population in your study design for your infectious control for the CAP study, you want to evaluate the CAP study of the infectious control guideline among the PIMS nursing staff. That the charge nurses are those nurses which are working on the clinical side, on the nursing practices, or providing the nursing care to the patient. So these are your target population from where you get the actual information or data for your research projects. So in the designing and planning, you will go through use the method to measure the research variables. So for your research variable to collect the information, what type of the methodology you are used to measure your research variable. So definitely you will go to describe your data, measure your data by the descriptive way, and the second one is called the analytical way. And the descriptive way, you are going to measure your data through the frequency table, by the proportion, by the percentage, or by the numbers. Okay, and the analytical, if you want to measure the research variables through the analytical way, so definitely you will go to use the different type of the statistical test for that. That means the t-test, z-test, chi-square, or the ANOVA, or the linear regression, logistic regression, multiple logistic regression, multivariate analysis, factor analysis, and then you will go through for the one simple t-test or two simple t-tests, pair t-test, two independent t-test, and then the non-parametric test are you also use for you to measure your research. If you cannot measure your variables through the parametric test, then you will go for the non-parametric test, just like the Mayometry test, Sharapov test, and just like the Pearson t-test, and then the different type of the non-parametric test or the available on the SPSS. You can measure your for your research study projects if you have. And after the measurement of the research variable, definitely in the planning phase or designing phase, you will go for your sampling design. The first of all, for the sampling design, you will measure the sampling size. Measuring the sampling size, we will use the different type of the formula. For the prevalence or for the descriptive study design, we have the different side of we will use the famous formula that's called the Cochrane formula. Through the Cochrane formula, we will go to calculate the sample size for the descriptive study design. For the analytical study design, we have the different type of the formulas for the case control, for the cohort study design, for the experimental study design. We have the different type of the formula for the sample, measure the sample size, calculate the sample size. After calculating the sample size, then definitely you will go to how these, if suppose you calculated the 300 sample size, you have required the 300 sample size of the nursing staff in the PIMS for your research project. Then you, which type of the sampling design you will use, type of the sampling design you will use. The sampling, we have the chapter on the sampling. In the next, this seventh chapter is for the sampling, and in which we will discuss or learn more in detail about the sampling type, sampling size, and this different type of the sampling. But here I will just give this case. The sampling is the two type of the sampling: probability sampling and non-probability sampling. And probability sampling as a further, four types is the simple random sampling, systematic sampling, stratified sampling, and cluster sampling. In non-probability sampling, we have the different type of the non-probability: snowball sampling, convenient sampling, hotspot sampling, and then the convenient sampling, judgmental sampling, extreme deviant sampling, and the deviant sampling, and quota sampling, professional sampling. These are the types of the non-property or snowball network sampling. These are the types of the non-property sampling. After these, in the planning and designing phase, if your study is a mega project, if your study is a mega project, if you want to conduct this study on the all over the Pakistan, so that these study project have the need or require of the a lot of the cost or expenditure. So for the costing and for the to forecasting of that expenditure of the huge research project, which you will want to conduct all over the Pakistan, in which the 50,000 sampling or 5,000 household you are to took for your sample for the sampling. So definitely you will go to conduct the pilot study. Pilot study is a miniature study, which is the forecasting study, which is you conduct the study. The pilot study is for the huge project to make the forecasting for the expenditure, for the time consuming, to give the planning for you, how you will go to, and what are the changes, what are the challenges you will be faced in your research project if you want to conduct at the major level or the mega level. So after for this study project, which is I gave an example in which you want to conduct the CAP study in the knowledge and attitudes. You want to assess the CAP study of the infectious control towards the infectious control among the PIMS nursing staff. We will use the descriptive cross-sectional study design. Descriptive cross-sectional study design is a very easy study design in which you conduct the describe the knowledge, attitudes, and practices among the nursing staff in a descriptive way, the frequency table, or in the proportion and the percentage. And after that, you will go to, after the selecting the design, then definitely you will go to find out the population, the nursing staff, which is all the nursing staff working in the PIMS hospital or all over the Islamabad. These are your population. But for the research project, you should be specific or the targeted population from where you will get your information is a very enriched information for your research project. So those are the nursing staff or the charge nurses, which are providing the nursing care at the bedside. So they are very more relevant informants or the subjects or the study participant for you to give the to acquire the true information through the research tool. You collect the rich information. So after the target population and the selecting the sample size, definitely how you will go to recruit it for your study project. Definitely you will make some criteria for that. Same like if you want to, if we are the College of Nursing to induct the any student for the post or BSN students, so definitely we will make some criteria for it. Means admission policy for that or admission criteria for that. The same for the same like the in the research project. If you wants to recruit the sample size or the study participant for your research project, definitely you will prepare the inclusion criteria. So we prepare the inclusion criteria as an example in the front of you all. So those are the nurses, which is are the registered nurses. First of all, it should be a registered nurse, and either it is he or she have a BSN or the 3 years of diploma. And the second criteria is that those are the nursing staff in the working in the PIMS hospital. They should be working in the shift duties in the morning, evening, and the night. And those are the nursing staffs are not fulfilling these criteria, they will come up in the inclusion criteria. So the third phase of your quantitative research study design is the empirical phase. In the empirical phase, you will go to how to collect the information, how you will collect the data from the study participant from your sample size. So definitely for the data collection, you will have to prepare a tool, and this tool is called the questionnaire tool. The questionnaire tool you will prepare by yourself, or you can adopt the questionnaire tool by the which has been prepared by the any other researcher, which is that particular that the researcher has conducted the same study, which is very relevant to your research, your research problem. Then you want to adopt that particular tool, and that particular tool you want to replicate that tool for the collection of the data in your in that setting, in your own setting, in your own country, so that you should have to take the permission, or you take the approval from that particular researcher or that particular principal investigator, or from the any international agencies. You have been take the tool of the WHO, you can put the tool of the CDC, or you can take the tool of the UNO or UNICEF for your research project if it is all relevant with your research project title. And if after the collecting the tool, that definitely you are going to prepare for the data analysis. For the data analysis, after collecting all the information of suppose from the 300 from the 300 nurses, you have collected the information by using that particular tool. For the then definitely you will go to prepare for the data analysis. For the data analysis, you should have to enter the data the first. First you enter the data, then you will go for the data analysis. For the data entry, we have the different sort of the types of the tool are available in the software. The famous software nowadays for the data entry and for the data analysis is called the SPSS, Statistical Package for the Social Sciences. And you can also use the Excel as well. The Excel is also used for your descriptive study design, and also you can use the Minitab, you can also use the SAS, and also you can use this State. These are the different type of the software which is out nowadays are available for the data analysis, which is mostly used are by the researcher and by the statistician for the data analysis. And after the phase 3 of the empirical phase, we will go for the analysis phase. After collecting the information and entering the data in the software on the SPSS, definitely will go to analyze the data. If your study is a descriptive form, so it is so easy that you will describe your information, your data, in the form of the frequency table, in the form of the prevalence, in the form of the proportion and the percentage. It is a very easy to define the descriptive study design of your research, of the research questionnaires and tool of your data. But if your study design and the analytical study design and then definitely you will go to use the different analytical test for the, just like if you have used the t-test, z-test, or the chi-square, or you use the linear regressions, bidirectional regression, yeah, coefficient, linear regression, or the multiple linear regression, binary logistic regression, or you have been used the factor analysis, uh, yeah, multivariate analysis. Yeah, if you use the ANOVA and COA, so these are the software or the statistical test by which you can measure the analysis your data by according to your research question or your research hypothesis. So after the analyzing of the data, definitely your data will come up in the form of any result. So in the form of the result, you will go to interpret the result as well. So if your study and the descriptive form that you can easily describe the interpret the data in the proportion, the percentage, very in an easy way. If your data in the analytical phase, so definitely you will go to analyze the data in the p-test. In the p-test, you will go to explain your result in the front of the reader, in the which result is the significant, or which result are the reject your hypothesis, which result is the accept your null hypothesis. So all these things you will be interpret your data and in an easy way, so the reader can assume it or can assimilate it in an easy way. So for the data collection, definitely while you are going to be conducting your data collection by a specific tool which is prepared by yourself, or you adopted any research tool or questionnaire tool of the any international agency of WHO or UNICEF or CDC. So before to collecting the data, definitely you will prepare your proposal, research proposal, and with the research proposal you will be attach your questionnaire tool. With the questionnaire tool you will also provide the informed consent as well. Then these informed consent questionnaire tool, and along with your proposal, the research questionnaire tool and the informed consent, you will submit to the IRB. IRB is called the Institutional Review Board, or it is called the ERB, Institutional Ethical Review Board, or it is called the IRC, Institutional Review Committee, or it is called the ERC, means Ethical Review Committee. So after the Ethical Review Board or the Ethical IRB is consist by the different type of the expert in this team of the research department, is a part of the research department, in which the bioethics ethic expert in this team. The chairman is of this IRB is the bioethics expert person. So the IRB people or the IRB committee is go through thoroughly from your research proposal, from your questionnaire tool, from your informed consent. They want to see that either your research question is not doesn't be is a culturally sensitive, or is a religious sensitive, or it is any questions or questionnaire tool is the or your research project or your research proposal or experimental of your studies, and you give some physical harm, the mental harm, or the social or economical harm. Any harm is risk is not present inside your research project. So if you want to conduct the study, which is we have tagged an example, that's we want to conduct the CAP study of the infectious control among the PIM nursing staff. So definitely you will go to the nursing directorate or the nursing cell of the PIMS hospital. From the nursing hospital or PIMS hospital nursing cell, from the CNS, you will tag the frame of the nursing staff. Frame is called the list of all the nursing staff, charge nurses, which are working in the PIMS hospital. If the 500 nursing or 600 nursing staff is working in the PIMS hospital, definitely you will randomly select the 300 sample size from these charge nurses from the frame of the nurses, yeah, frame of the nursing staff of the charge nurses. So simple random sampling. We will use the simple random sampling to select the 300 sample size of the charge nurses from the nursing staff of the PIMS hospital. Those are the informants. If any informants wants to participate in your in your study design, which is have been you selected for your study project with 300 charge nurses. So before to fill up to collect the information or to providing the questionnaires tool or collect the information from the particular from the selected or the volunteer participant of the in your study project, definitely you should be fill up the informed consent. You will provide a informed consent to the participant, and the informed consent is the consent in which you should have to explore or full disclosure about your research project, in which you will be explain about your research project, what is you are going on, and what is your research project, and what is the aim and objective of the research project, what is the benefit of the research project, and it should be explain your informed consent that while the any participant wants to voluntarily participate or give the information you are part of your research project, or give the information or participate in your research project, that the particular study participant will not get any type of the harm or risk physically, mentally, socially, and economically during your research projects. After getting the information, after collecting the information from the study participant, it is the responsibility or it is the morality of the principal investigator, of the researcher. It should provide some incentives to study participant, because by the providing or the thanks gift or providing thanks gift to the study participant, it's a very beneficial. Next time they will be involved in another studies if someone is conduct the study in that particular area, so they will be cooperative. They will be well motivated for the cooperation for the next study projects. After the preparing of the data analysis, definitely you will go to for the data analysis. You will use the different statistical procedure for the data analysis. After the data analysis, you will go to interpret the data result. Here is some example of the data analysis of the research project. In this research project, the researcher have measures the prevalence of the patient risk factors. If any patient which is admitted in the hospital, they will be gone through from the different type of the risk factor. They have he measures the different type of the patient with the different type of the disease, and they have been gone through from the three type of the infections, which is a mostly frequent in the hospital. The one is called the nosocomial infection. The second one is the community acquired infection, and third one is the uninfected patients. So if you see here, the other infection, trauma, anemia, malnutrition, alcoholism, and smoking. These are the 6 types of the different type of the patients. But if you see in the trauma and the traumatic patient, which is are admitted in the hospital, they have been come across more with the around to 52% of the with the nosocomial infection as compared of the community acquired infections. Means the traumatic patients are acquired the more nosocomial infection as compared of the community acquired infection. And in the anemia, the anemic patient which is are admitted in the hospital, they have little bit similar in the result, because the anemic patient have prone to the get the infection of the nosocomial and also the community acquired infection as well. And the malnutrition is also the similar one. But the alcoholism, if you look as compared of the traumatic and the other infection, the alcoholic patients, those are the with the alcoholic addicted, and they are admitted in the hospital, but they have the very protective from the nosocomial infection and the community acquired infection, because of the they are the more alcoholic in the at the plasma level. So maybe possible it is a protective. Now see in the after the result, which is displayed in the front of you all, the incidence and case fertility of the result. Here is the is a nosocomial infection, a nosocomial blood bloodstream infection, and the community bloodstream infection means community acquired infection. The incidence rate of the in the nosocomial infection is quite much is higher as compared to the community acquired infection. The incidence rate means 21.7 cases per thousand is admitted with the admitted patient get the nosocomial infection, and then the incidence cases, which is 13.3 per thousand admission, is getting the community acquired. It means much lower as compared to the nosocomial infection. Now see the case fatality. Case fatality means the how the disease is severe to cause the death. So the 20.6% is the 20.6% is the death rate, case fatality in the nosocomial infection as compared to the community acquired infection. So the mortality rate so the 4.5 death per thousand in the admitted patient with the nosocomial getting the which is has been died due to the nosocomial infections, and the 1.3 death per thousand in the among the admitted patient it will be died through the by getting the community acquired infection. So the nosocomial infection is a more dangerous, is a more vulnerable, is more mortality cause as compared to the community acquired infection. So after the fifth phase of the research, quantitative research study design is the dissemination phase. Means after collecting the information, data, after collecting the data, analyzing the data, and interpreting the data, then definitely you will be communicate your data to systems at the policy making level. Means how you will communicate your finding of data. Definitely after conducting the research project or the research study, you should have to be publish your data, your study project or your research study, and is a high impact factor. You should have to be publish it in the high impact factor journals, just like the Nature, Lancet, or the BMC or BMI, and these are the highest impact factor of the journals. And you are after the publication that it is published in the high impact factor journals or in the definitely these journals has been come across through the from the eyes or from the attention of the policy making level policy makers. So the policy, if your study result or your study results are very significant or is very relevant or is a very informative, or the recommendation is very authentic, or suggestion is a very authentic, as a make a very implementable level. So the policy maker level, policy making level person, the policy makers will adopt your findings. So these are the references for the as I told you earlier, the police police F. Dennis is the textbook for your research study, for research nursing research. You should go through from it for the chapter of the method, appraisal, and utilizations. You will go through from it. So it is all about the today is all about the overview of the research process and what are the different 5 steps of the research process we have been gone through. From we learn in detail about each type of the process, what are the happen, what are the demonstration, what are the practices, what are the activities or methodologies we will use in the different stages of the research process. If you any question, any queries, you can email me, or you can write down in my YouTube channel HPH, and please subscribe to my YouTube channels, and also it is propagate my HPH channel to your other colleague and your other students. Thank you so much.